Hello my friends and welcome back. It is Friday my dudes, the end of the week, and before this day is over I'm going to play padel and have a cold brewski with my friends, alcohol free of course. Today, many good news, and I want to end the week with good news because we have different power plants struck in Russia. I'm gonna go through the whole list. We have Oryol gas power plant. We have electrical substations in Vladimir region. We have even a border checkpoint struck. And finally, I have a list for you all around Moscow, different electrical substations because it's gonna be lights out for Moscow. I've been waiting for that. I want them to be plunged into darkness. Oh, that got really dark, sorry. Well, first, view of the Ukrainian presumably cruise missile strike on the Oryol gas power plant, 330 megawatts. Let's just enjoy the footage. It's Friday after all. I think you and I deserve it. Look at that. Ukrainians spreading some freedom all across Russia. This is what I want to start my day with. Burning Russian power plant. This specifically was in the Oryol region. You can see it has been geolocated. You can see the coordinates on the screen if you're interested in that. I always love to see how the OSINT guys all over the world geolocate this stuff. They just look at some buildings, then they look at the satellite view and they're like, yeah, that's the same place. I've never been able to do that, but they do it good. Here is another video of the same attack. There it is. And you can hear the bang of freedom. Lovely. Okay, that's enough of that. Let's move on to electrical substation in the Vladimir region. Look at that. Burning. Struck. Now these substations, there are hundreds of them, if not thousands across Russia. More like thousands. So taking them all out is a bit of work. But that's the work Ukrainians are doing right now, specifically, because this is a map of electrical substation around Moscow that Ukraine has struck. Arzamatskaya, Belashovskaya, Vladimirskaya, Veshkaima, Novobrinskaya substations. You can see them, you can see the dates, all of them in October. So Ukrainians are focusing down these targets before winter sets in Russia, specifically in Moscow, for there to be cold, dark, and miserable. And I love it. I love it so much. It's very nice. Alright. Now to the Bryansk checkpoint or border facilities on the Ukrainian-Russian border. Ukrainians decided to strike these border facilities with French delivered hammer bombs. They are precise and I love to watch videos of it because they almost always film it. Look at that. Wait for it. Wait for it. Straight into building number 1, smack in the middle, and straight into building number 2. That's what these French hammer glide bombs do. They are so precise, and the footage never disappoints. But now, my friends, I'm going to deliver you a revenge story you have not seen yet. No, I'm not talking about the Belgorod Dam being blown up and this being revenge for the Novakhovka Dam. I'm talking about a whole new level of revenge which even puts the Jewish Mossad into shame. No, I'm kidding. It doesn't put them into shame, but it rivals them. Because on October 25th, a Russian war criminal, a colonel, was eliminated deep inside Russia by a Ukrainian operator, watching him drive his car, pushing a button and the car goes kaboom. They knew his routes, they knew which car he's driving at what time on at what road, and this all happened 1,000 kilometers deep inside Russia. First of all, who was the guy? Ukrainian HUR sources confirmed that Lieutenant Colonel Veniamin Masherin of the Omoin Special Purpose Mobile Unit with the Russian National Guard Rosgvardia exploded spontaneously. Oh, I love it so much. He was implicated in war crimes in the Kyiv area, including Bucha back in 2022. I've been to Bucha countless times. I went there with my wife that was so big and important. I wanted to share it with my wife on our honeymoon. This is what I'm talking about. This is a footage of the war crimes recorded, and I'm not going to show it to you. You can see it in the description below. Rosgvardia's Omoin Obereg unit took part in the 2022 occupation of the Kyiv area, including Bucha, where the Ukrainian intelligence links it to detentions, torture, and executions. See the video? We're not going to see the video. You can do that on your own. Mazherin's elimination closes on one account in that black ledger on Budanov's desk. And you know how Mossad hunted the Nazi war criminals in Argentina, South America, everywhere around the world. They hunted them for the next 20, 30 years after the Second World War. Well, that's going to be the same for Russians, starting with this specific colonel. That's the location that he was spontaneously combusted. Deep inside Russia. You can almost say it's the Far East. Well, it's Siberia, it's Central Russia, but it's so far. It's on the other side of Kazakhstan almost. Now let's watch and enjoy the video together of how this guy got made into a sleeping fish. This is photos of the units of Russians. This is the guy, this is the colonel. Him training for the war crimes he committed, possibly. And this is the actual footage of a Ukrainian operative filming a car 1,000 kilometers deep inside Russia while holding a remote. I mean, this is insane in so many levels. The spider web that Ukrainians have inside Russia. That's his car. That's him on the road behind the wheel. He was yawning. He's holding a remote. I mean, how well can you control the situation deep behind enemy lines? This is as well as you can. Like, there's nothing better. He just sits there, waits there, and blows the guy up. Straight turned into manure, I would say, for the Ukrainian sunflowers. But no, this is Russia. Straight into manure that will stay manure forever. It's just garbage now. He's red mist. And he's not going to heaven. He's definitely going to hell. One envelope less on Budanov's desk. This is the revenge story of the year, and it's perfect. No Russian officer is safe. No one. In the Far East, in Crimea, in occupied Ukraine, nowhere they're safe. Even when this war ends with the Ukrainian victory, still they will be hunted. Talking about the spider web of agents inside Russia, I will show you a video similar to the last time I showed you a video where Ukrainian operatives or partisans inside Russia, whoever they are, they're fighting against Kremlin and the power of Kremlin right now. They're setting ablaze everything connected to logistics, communications, internet, everything. And it's so easy, so easy. Railway cabinets, relay cabinets, internet providers, equipment, cell towers, everything you can burn, and that is important for connection and logistics and communication, they will burn. They always do that. Rostovska Oblast, burning again. And they always show the three. Kamchatsky Krai, I mean, that is as far as you can go. Kamchatka, they're burning stuff there. These dudes are Respublika Adygeia. This is cheap, this is fast, this is efficient, it's anonymous, and it destroys the most vital links in the Russian country and the military. I love it so much. Look how easy it is. And it's nice. I mean, everybody loves a good bonfire. Yeah, this dude was too close to the fire, definitely. Fire hazard there for him. But everybody loves a good freedom bonfire. I know I do. I know you do. This is why I'm showing this stuff to you. Hey, it's Friday. You deserve it. Number 3. And I will end the Inside Russia segment with Very bad news for Putin's private army. You might think the Russian army is Putin's private army, but no, it's a Rosgvardia. Rosgvardia is a unit or the army branch that Putin created that would be more responsible to him personally and would not be deployed to foreign inventions as much as be inside Russia and perhaps fulfill the role of military police, internal control in the army. Well, now, you are a Rosgvardia officer thinking Papa Putin is taking care of you. You're safe from the Ukrainian carnage. But no. Low-ranking officers of Russia's Rosgvardia are being transferred into assault units near Chasiv Yar, according to the Crimean Tatar partisan organization Atesh. One Rosgvardia officer, who is an agent of Atesh, reported that all Rosgvardia units have received orders to reassign their personnel to frontline assault formations. Wow. This particularly concerned the 72nd Separate Motorized Rifle Brigade, which is suffering heavy losses near Chasiv Yar in the Donetsk region. The probable reason for this directive transfer is the severe manpower losses that cannot be quickly replenished by mercenaries. The Kremlin is thus being forced to use Rosgvardia as a reserve combat force. Now Putin is going into his personal stockpile of meat, Rosgvardia. It is good news for us and for the Ukrainians, bad news for these officers. Now, my friends, like I always do, I want to give tribute to who tribute is due. These are the guys, the heroes of this, maybe girls also, I have no idea. But they support this channel, they're the foundation of my work. I'm gonna butcher their names to show my gratitude. Morgan Kirling. I think it's a dude. Gordon Hiuma. You have been back time and time again, my friends. I know you're connected to Sweden, but I don't know how is thank you in Swedish. So I'm gonna just say thank you in Swedish. Aron M. Stonerok. Thank you for having such a legendary name. James Parker Kolm. If you like my channel, then buy me a coffee, link is in the description below. I'll also be reading one of the best comments in the previous video, where I talked about Russians reaping what they sowed with the Belgorod Dam being destructed and Russian soldiers swimming, because they started it by blowing up the Novakhovka Dam. Klaus Hornischer says this. Hi, Artur. When you were talking about the consequences of the Belgorod Dam, you were groping for words expressing what you feel when you think back about Kakhovka. There is a proverb in German language which I suppose says what you had in mind, and I'll try to read it to you in German. Forgive me. Wer Wind satt wird Sturm ernten. Yeah, that's my pronunciation. Literally meaning, those who sow the wind will harvest the storm. In English, I guess the proverb sounds, he who sows the wind will reap the whirlwind. Oh, that's awesome. Yes, I do agree. That's the words I was searching for in that video. Alright, for the international segment today is going to be very short. Europeans came out with a 12-point peace plan, and I hate it. I'm not going to even hide it. I will read you all the points and I will tell you why I hate them. Not all the points, but some of them. Number 1, ceasefire to begin 24 hours after the parties accept the plan. I'm not going to comment on that. Freezing of the current front lines. Well, freezing of the current front lines meaning Russia will keep all the occupied territories, meaning this will be a springboard for them to launch a future invasion, because that's what they always do. A Russian foreign policy of military aggression follows a strict set of rules. And if you give them something, they will use that for springboard attacks in the future. That's how it has been for 300 years. Monitoring begins immediately under the leadership of the US. That's okay. Ukraine and Russia agree on non-aggression pact. That's a laughing stock, isn't it? Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant is transferred to a third party with the subsequent return of Ukraine. Okay. Lifting of symbolic sanctions against Russia. That's again straight from hell. Russia makes all money that Russia makes goes to the military pretty much. So if you lift the sanctions, you make it easier for them to make money. So you pretty much allow them to rebuild their military and attack you in the future, because that's what they always do and that's what they always have done. So lifting off the sanctions means we're gonna give Russia more money to rebuild their military in the future. That's rephrasing it, and I hate it. Agreement on the final line of contact to agreements on the management of the occupied territories by the Russian Federation. Ukraine receives international security guarantees without details. Again, let me tell you the truth in one simple sentence. Ukrainian security guarantees lie in the strength of the Ukrainian army. If we want to give them security guarantees, we must give them many, many, many weapons and much ammunition. Kyiv and Moscow strengthen mutual understanding and respect for the diversity of languages, cultures, and religions. I'm gonna be puking here. Start of negotiations on the management of occupied territories, yada yada. Gradual lifting of sanctions against Russia as the plan is implemented. Again, this is straight from hell. I will rephrase what is written here. Gradual allowance of Russia to make more and more money to attack Ukraine in the future. So that's part of the peace plan. I mean, it's horrible. They're basically writing it into the peace plan for Russia to attack Ukraine in the future. Ukraine and Russia agree on compensation and West unfreezes assets. There's $300 billion of Russian assets frozen in the West. As soon as these assets will be unfrozen, Russia will transfer them to Russia and transfer them to the military and use them for the future invasion of whichever country Russia has a border with. So basically rephrasing this is giving Russia hundreds of billions for the future invasions of any country. That's written into this peace plan by European countries. It's so dumb and so stupid. I think some apes wrote it. Alright, my friends, now for the front lines. And of course, we will go immediately into Pokrovsk. I have many reports I want to fill you in with. So Russians are pushing inside Pokrovsk. Russian troops have been seen being eliminated in the city center even. That doesn't mean they are in the city center, but furthest units reached it at some point. Now to support these forward assault troops, Russians are pushing in thermobaric artillery, which means, thermobarics were designed by the Russians for pretty much urban conflicts, because if thermobarics warhead explodes, they suck all the oxygen out of the explosion circle, meaning the shock waves will not only destroy 2 or 3 houses next to it and the windows, like a few blocks will suffer because of one thermobaric explosion inside the city, because the shockwave will also bounce back and forth from the buildings. So Russians want to use them inside Pokrovsk for the support of their infantry. But Russia's tactical advantage came with a strategic cost. To support the infiltration, Russian artillery moved forward. Thermobaric launchers must fire from 3 to 6 kilometers for TOS-1 systems, around 15 kilometers for TOS-2. This exposed them to Ukrainian drones reconnaissance. Ukrainian forces launched a devastating counter-battery campaign. FPV drones struck a thermobaric launcher near Pokrovsk's southern edge within minutes of the detection, detonating its fuel and rockets. A BM-27 Uragan rocket launcher was destroyed on the road. A BM-21 Grad system was eliminated seconds after firing. 3 Russian batteries firing from 3 lines were hit by precision GBU-39 strikes. I just want to illustrate the price Russia is paying for their success in Pokrovsk. Russians are trying to push a lot of fake information about Pokrovsk. They are claiming that the city is surrounded on all sides. They're claiming that for the last 2 weeks, but it's still not true. After a long silence, the Russians resumed their flagpole tactics in our direction, installing their rags or flags and distributing corresponding videos on social networks. These are informational campaigns designed to demotivate Ukrainians and the Western powers, and designed to build the narratives that Russians have Pokrovsk surrounded, which is not the case, not even right now. The use of this primitive IPSO tool, together with the false statements about the city being surrounded by hostile political elements, only demonstrates that the enemy wants to pass off wishful thinking as reality. And this information goes straight to Putin. Like you might think these informational operations are done to the outside consumers, the Ukrainians and to the West, but no, this fake informations, this info goes to Putin. He's the victim of that. Check it out. Russian war bloggers are angrily denouncing General Valery Gerasimov for blatantly lying to President Vladimir Putin about Russia's military progress in Ukraine during a televised briefing. They note that the incident highlights the persistent problem of false reporting. By the way, the same problem happens in the Ukrainian army. Just want you to know that. A few weeks ago, some observant commentators noticed that the map of the front line seen in the background of a Russian Ministry of Defense video showed Russian positions kilometers further west than Russian or Ukrainian OSINT analysis had independently assessed them to be. Basically, the maps lied a few clicks about the Russian occupational zones. Yesterday, Putin Gerasimov briefing demonstrated that this was not just for show, but was being reported directly to the Supreme himself. Gerasimov claimed that Pokrovsk and Mirnohrad were encircled, with 31 Ukrainian battalions surrounded by Russian forces. Putin is the ultimate commander of the Russian army, and Putin is the ultimate commander who is being fed strictly false information. False wrong areas, the areas which are not occupied by Russians are shown him that these are, and he demands further assaults. And the Russian officers on the ground see that Putin demands this city from us, but we haven't even taken this city. And this is what the political order is doing then after this false information. It comes down, taking account this false information, pushing Russian officers to push their men, because you already control this area, go further. So it directly translates into massive casualties. Let's look at the map. I mean, the situation is really bad for Ukrainians. I'm not going to hide it at all. Really bad for Ukrainians. I mean, look at this Pokrovsk pocket. Not surrounded. One side is still open for logistics and retreat, but Russians claim it's surrounded by this side also. I mean, it's false. But the gap is really tiny. It's close to 4 clicks, 3.87 clicks, meaning it's under Russian fire control of the FPV drones, artillery, thermobaric, even small arms fire and 40mm small mortars can shoot, or 81mm, whatever. Mortars can shoot into this gap. Everything that can shoot into this gap. Meaning majority of Ukrainian logistics has to be done through this gap on foot. And that's really painful, really painful. Wounded have to be transported out on foot for kilometers, tens of kilometers, going from this southern area of the pocket to the northern area. It's like 10 clicks on foot. This is crazy. This is bad. But I don't want to end this video with bad news. Hey, you know I wouldn't do that to you. So I'm gonna end it with good news. Madyar Brovdi, the legendary Ukrainian drone commander, the commander of all Ukrainian drone forces, that's the new innovation they did in the Ukrainian army, he has something to say. And I'll let him speak. I'll just read you the subtitles. I just love the guy. He's amazing. Wishing you good health, Madyar reporting. Commander of Unmanned Systems Forces. Drones have become the main tool of modern warfare. The enemy crumbles and fails in industrial volumes. Their equipment stands no chance. Refineries burn regularly. Fuel in swamps becomes scarce, while gas and oil quickly burn up. We are 2% of Ukraine's defense forces. Every third verified enemy targets destroyed by USF. So their manpower makes up only 2%, but they destroy 30% of Russian casualties. So this is insane efficiency. Every third enemy neutralized by USF, and soon it will be every second. This is now a system that works, and it needs scaling. See, they're running Ukrainian army as a startup. They're running these drone units as a startup. I visited a lot of drone factories, a lot of different drone units. They're not running them as military units. They're running them as startups, and they're scaling and they're industrializing, killing on the battlefield as efficiently as possible because Ukrainians don't have money, don't have manpower. So they gotta be efficient. They gotta look into the startup world because those guys, they know how to scale with massive tensions without money. And this is, I saw them do this. They use ways to scale that are more connected to capitalist businesses than military units. And it works. It's crazy. It's time to expand operations. We will grow to 5%. Drones await pilots, not the other way around. I'm announcing recruitment for unmanned systems forces. Over 15,000 positions, half being civilian specialties, needed here now at the front. Electronics experts, programmers, designers, project managers, jacks of all trades, and of course, drone operators. You are needed here and now. Stop running. Time to fly. Erasing the occupier. Type 3 letters online. USF or SBS in Ukrainian. And join one of 12 birds units. Eyes and sting. 2 worms. The worm's nightmare. I love it. I love every second of it. And this is why I wanted to spell the whole, 2 minutes about this. I hope you got a nice kick to your Friday. I know I did. Now I'm ready to enjoy that cold brewski with my friends. Until my next video, my friends, which will be on Monday. So definitely subscribe to the channel to be notified. Be sure to be back. Slava Ukraini. And bye-bye.